plant-fungal interactions, that's a growing area, the fact of masked mycotoxins, things like that. We have acute disease and or death at high doses, but because of the knowledge that we have within the United States and in many developed nations, we're not really seeing much of the acute. What we're seeing much more is chronic, inefficient production at low doses. And how do we interpret that? Toxicology has to evolve. We're not in the point where we're not necessarily constantly discovering new things that are going to just kill you right there, but we're discovering a lot of things of interactions with other factors and the fact what's going to happen with chronic low exposure. Again, it says 1 to 3 parts per million. I've seen effects at 1/2 part per million. The thing that we have to understand is, and many of you realize, is that when we do research on mycotoxins, we can say we're not going to see effects at until this level, but in fact, in a farm situation with all those other things that are not controlled for, we're going to see them much less than that. Okay, so here we go. Basically, the intestinal cells, tight junctions. When we get exposure to toxins, to bad bacteria, we get a breakdown in those junctions. And this is how I have to look at it. I have to have little smiley faces and red and green so I can understand it. But again, you get leaky bowel, you get nutrients, you get bacteria, you get toxins. I like to use the term toxicant. That's inclusive of a lot of different things. Toxins of biological origin. But again, to show you that it leaks through, gets into the bloodstream, there's a lot of stuff going on that can impact mycotoxins, can impact within the intestine, okay? And again, this is basically to show that we can have changes in the microbiome. We can have changes in the integrity. That can be associated with mycotoxins, okay? We don't know what levels of mycotoxins, but it can be associated with mycotoxins, okay? So we've got an altered microbiome, we've got impaired intestinal barrier, additive between the interactions. We can have additive effects, 1 + 1 = 2. We can also have synergistic effects, 1 + 1 = 5. In most of my experiences, many of the are additive, certainly they can be synergistic. We're not exposed to just one thing. Traditional toxicology tests exposure to one potential toxicant and at different levels of exposure. We are exposed to lots of things simultaneously, and they interact. We need to be aware of that.